Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you my beautiful vintage Winsor Newton Cotman watercolour set. Now I believe this set would be about close to 40 years old, between 35 and 40 years old, and it did belong to my dad and he gave it to me because he moved on to the artist's ones, and I've had this quite a few years now, and as you can see it's really delicate. The box has just about completely fallen apart. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I've taped around it with sellotape all the way around because it just split and I just wanted to preserve it as long as possible. Now, as you can imagine, after almost around about 40 years they're kind of dry inside, but they're still really good, so I thought I'd just get them out and test them. Okay, so first of all, one of them has actually been replaced. As you can see, that's a different tube, but that's still really old. That has got to be at least 20 odd years old anyway. So that one's been replaced, and there was actually a mauve one in there as well, which was completely dried up. I think that's been replaced with something else, but I'm not sure which one. Probably another blue one. So there's a mauve one. And I'll show you what it was like inside, because the tube was totally dry. It's just like an old stick. It was just literally broken to pieces, which is really good because it's just like a little pan. So as you can see, it's just broken into pieces, and that's the mauve one. So to start with, I'll just try them out and we can just see after 40 odd years just how good they are still. So this is just I'm just going to sort of swatch them out just to show you. So here we go. So this is the mauve. Need a little bit more water, and that's not too bad considering how old it is and how dry it is. And obviously if I left a bit of water on that for a little while it would soak in and that would be really juicy and vibrant, but I think that's really good anyway. Now that the water's going in a bit, that is coming out nicer. You can see there. So that's really pretty. So that's really good. Put that aside. Okay, now the yellow one, I was going to break that one open as well, and then I thought, well, I might as well just keep it in the tube for, until such time as I actually want to use it. So otherwise I'd have bits and pieces everywhere, and I've got to find somewhere to store all those little bits. So I thought just for the time being, to actually use them, to keep them in the tubes. But the end broke off this one because I did actually open it ages and ages ago to see if there was any wet paint in there, but there wasn't. So this one is cadmium yellow. Just need a touch more water. Wow, look at that. That's just gorgeous. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Considering the age of these paints, that's really very good. I'd say that these are probably better than my brand new Winsor Newton Cotman. So that's the cadmium yellow. Next we have Prussian Blue. So I'm just going to wiggle that in there. Once you get a little bit of water, I mean I could have done this beforehand, before I did the video. I could have actually put some water in here, but then you wouldn't actually see how effective they are after all this time. Anyway, so that's very dry in there. Probably isn't doing my paintbrush a lot of good wiggling it around in there, but there we are. Getting there slowly. Okay, so this is the Prussian Blue. Just wetting it up a little bit. Just because it's been locked in there for like nearly 40 years. So it's not doing too badly. So that's the gorgeous Prussian Blue, which I absolutely adore Prussian Blue. Next up we have the Cerulean Blue. And that one's as dry as a brick as well. So this is Cerulean Blue. Just needs to get a bit wetter. Now I could split the tube and just, you know, wipe the brush on the dried up paint inside, but I just would like to keep the tubes intact for as long as possible, just because it's got that lovely, you know, it's a vintage set and it's just nice to have it. But this one is really quite dry. We'll come back to that one, that's okay, we'll just put a bit of water in there and come back to that one. So that's the Cerulean Blue. Okay, I just had to use some rubber gloves to twist that lid off that was on there really tight. So this one is Ultramarine, gorgeous, gorgeous blue. Ooh, actually I do believe that one is still wet inside. Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that. This one is actually still wet inside, that's good. Wow, that's really stood the test of time. Look at that gorgeous colour. Okay, so let's try the burnt sienna. That one's rock hard. Oh, no, please don't want opened. I'll just wiggle my little brush in the end there. Yeah, it's doing quite well as well. Just get a bit more, actually I need a little bit more water, but the paint's coming off quite good. It's loosening up nicely, considering how old it is. And the colours are just so beautiful as well. I know it would be better if I could actually use a wider brush to do the strokes on the paper here, but I can't get a wider brush in the neck of the tube, so it's just gonna, there we are, that's quite good. It's getting down there to where the paint is, because it's just down there a little bit. So as you can see, that's really nice. So that's burnt sienna. Totally dry as a brick, but that's fine. What I actually did with the mauve was, I'll just show you, I've got this little set here. This is just a little palette that I made up myself. See that one just there? That's got the mauve that I broke up, and I just put a piece in there. Just put it in the little pan there. And I use it all the time, it's really beautiful. So I'm really, really impressed with these. I'm just too scared to use them because I don't want to use them up, because they've got sentimental value, and also they are so very old. It would be a shame to use them all up. Okay, so we'll get that piece out of the way and start on a new piece. Next up is the Veridian. That's actually soft inside. That's amazing. I really don't want to squeeze it out, even though it's wet in there. I don't want to squeeze it out because I don't want to waste the paint. So I just want to use as small amount as I can, but just to show you how good they are. So they're really beautiful. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous green. I can't believe they're just still really good quality after all this time. So next we have yellow ochre, and that one's as dry as a biscuit. Just wiggle it around a bit. That's really nice too. But these are 100% usable. These are in fantastic condition considering their age. So next up we have the Alizarin Crimson. That is rock hard as well. But I suspect that one's going to come out really well as well. If the other ones are anything to go by, then this is probably going to be just as good. Oh, that's beautiful. Look around. This paper that I'm using is not really watercolour paper. It was just a very, very cheap pad. It was called watercolour paper, but it's very absorbent. As you can see, that's a really, really pretty red. It's very good. It's lovely. It went on beautifully. And I'll use the black one last because that might just make the water too dirty. Get out. So there we have Vermilion. Gorgeous orangey red colour. And this one has got a little bit of give in it. It has got a little bit of give, so it's sort of semi-dry. Goes on beautifully. Gorgeous colour. These colours are still all really vibrant and beautiful. So that's the Vermilion. It's really pretty. I'll do the black now, and then I'll go back to these. So back to the Cerulean. Just get a little look at that. And that goes on really well. It just took a little while to soak it, but that's not too bad considering how dry it is. And it is quite a pale blue, so I'm not going to get the colour any darker than that because that's the colour of the actual pigment. So it's going on really well, I think. Very nice. So there we have it. So I think they are absolutely gorgeous paints, and I think they've really stood the test of time. Okay, it's a little bit shabby, but after that amount of time you'd expect it to be. I have actually taped up the corners on the boxes as well there, but it's just such a nice little thing to have, and it does have some sentimental value to me. And the little box there is completely taped up. I've gone all the way around from one end to the other with a sellotape because it's all broken around the edges, but I love it, and I just it's just beautiful, and I love it. And so here's the other piece. you can see them side by side. Just put them side by side. I hope you can see those easily. And last of all, we have the, I don't know what colour, that's indigo. Now this one was a replacement that my dad had actually put in it, because he obviously used up one and had to replace it. Now this would have to be, it would have to be at least 25 years old, so that's still vintage. So we will try this one, even though it's not in the original set. It was still a vintage tube of paint. It'll be interesting to see how this one is. Just wet it up a little bit. It's semi-dry, so shouldn't take too much wetting. I'll show you this bit. Just a bit here, shall we? A bit more water. Never being used in all that time, and then just you take the lid off and it's just as good as the day you bought it. I mean, it's just amazing. Whoops. So that's the indigo, and that's the entire set. There. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed opening the tubes for the first time in, gosh, I don't know how many years. I think they've come out really beautiful, and I think they're really beautiful quality. You know, I will enjoy using those at some point. Just a bit scared to use them because I don't want to use them all up. But I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.